Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Check my microphone before I was on the air. Welcome to the Coin Geek Weekly live stream. I am your host, Mr. Wuckert Jr., broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, where we have been under heat advisory for like 6 weeks straight. We also have Mr. Alex Vidal rocking the tunes. He's back in the keyboard. You should see him over there in the green room. He's doing this thing on the tables and doing a hell of a job. So thank you, Alex. This show is produced 100% from South Florida this week and for the foreseeable future because we like it hot, baby. So if you are watching live, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you. And if you could like, subscribe, hit the alert bell, and share this across social media, let the world know that we are live. We'll be taking live questions from the troll box, and we can talk about your comments, blessings, cursing, scrapes, gripes, or gropes, of which there are many. We have What's Up, Joey Two Guns, maybe my most loyal fan, frankly. So we got a couple of interesting things. I wrote a little bit of a spicy article this week. So if you want to read about why my doomer de-dollarization predictions for the last 20 years have been a little inaccurate, you should go ahead and read my post at the pinned tweet or the pinned post. So I basically wrote about how perhaps Gresham's Law and Lindy effect don't apply as much to Bitcoin as many people wish they did, but maybe that's also a good thing. But basically just how to be flexible, how to pivot, and how to think a little bit differently about the nature of sound money and the real opportunity that we have. So please give it a read. I would love your feedback. I know a lot of my sound money friends are going to be a little bit like, I don't know how I feel about this. And frankly, I'm not sure how I feel about it, which is why I'm asking for your feedback. It's an idea that I'm exploring because I've been wrong for 20 years ago. I was like, look, we are in imminent danger of a de-dollarization event, collapse of the dollar. And, now it's been a long time since I hopped on that train and, it hasn't panned out the way that I thought it would. So I don't have any trouble admitting when I was wrong, but I'm just letting you know that if you read it, you can read my thoughts about why that might be wrong. And then, of course, we will be joined shortly here, about 2 or 3 minutes, by one Stephan Nilsson. He is the founder of UNISOT, the Universal Source of Truth. He's one of the coolest OG Bitcoiners. He's might be the first Bitcoiner in Norway, frankly. He's been a good friend. He's been a good ally. I got to hang out with him when I visited Oslo, 2 years ago now. And, but we've been not, super close colleagues, but we've been casual colleagues for many years. He's a heck of a good guy. He's got a lot of stories to share. And apparently he's got some announcements about his business, which is pretty cool. And that's the kind of thing that I want on the show. So if you're one of those people out there who has a pretty cool business or you've got some stuff that you'd like to announce, please reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Alex Vidal at Costly Signals on X and get that set up. Say, hey, man, I'd really like to announce my thing on your show. That's the stuff that we prioritize. So if that's you, please reach out. We will get you booked. So I also need to thank our friends, allies, and sponsors. So that includes our Champions TCG folks. The show we did, was that last week? Was that a week ago? Was that 2 weeks ago? Oh, my concept of time has been destroyed by having a new child, but I'm doing my best. But again, thank you to the Champions TCG folks, some of the most loyal and most fun people in the Bitcoin space. And also Rock Wallet, who has been a delightful and loyal sponsor to the show as well. So if you want to hold your BSV, BCH, BTC, and then I think Litecoin, ETH, and stable coins, you can use Rock Wallet. It is fully non-custodial. The Not Your Keys, Not Your Coins crowd will be super excited to hear that. They also have a really nice swap feature built right into the wallet. So thank you again, Rock Wallet. And thank you to you for watching the show. Reminder, the comment of the day will be given a free pack of cards by the Champions TCG folks. So make sure you come up with something spicy or controversial, but I'll tell you what, a little hint, I tend to pick something that is funny for my favorite comment of the week. So let's keep it funny if you want a bigger and broader chance at winning the comment of the day. And then we've got some fun stuff coming up for you for the rest of the show. So I am going to take a little breather. I'm going to wet my whistle. I've got some cold brew coffee here that I'm getting pretty lit up about. And So while that all happens, you can watch an ad from our sponsor, Rock Wallet, and we will be back with Stephan Nilsson from UNISOT. See you in 30 seconds. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
How are you, Stephan?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Good. So you know what? I should know this, but have you been on the show? If you have, I know it's been a long time, but
yes, I've been on the show once before, and that was last time you got a child. So it was Patrick.
So it was pushing 5 years at this point then. So, all right.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we've done some.
No, not 5 years, but I think your second child.
Okay. So then it'd be 3, which makes sense. So there you go.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy time. Well, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I just saw Stephan in Oslo, and it was like, no, that was November 2022. So yeah, it's
yes,
yeah,
time is
outrageous.
Flying.
So, well, right, like thinking back, it's like, no, we still kind of had masks on and stuff, which that whole, like, the pandemic and having children has like completely messed up my entire concept of time.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. For those who don't know, and there are many who may or may not, but you're one of my favorite Bitcoiners. You've got the handle Bitcoin devotee across a couple different platforms, and you're actually one of the old guard of Bitcoiners in Scandinavia. Among Norwegians, I think you're one of the very first. You're definitely not the most famous or infamous at this point.
No, I'm not. Luckily, but
yeah. But you might have been first. So, yeah. Well, let's hear your story. How did you hear about Bitcoin? What did you think of it initially? Were you immediately excited, or were you a critic? And then how'd you end up where you are?
Yeah. That's a long story, but the way I found out. So I've been working as an SAP consultant for many years, 20 years, and I was out flying, and I remember I was at the airport in Copenhagen, and I saw a Wired magazine, and there was an article about this Satoshi Nakamoto, and I thought, wow, that was really interesting. So then I read the white paper, and I was just blown away that, wow, here is a blockchain, here is a centralized database that we can use, but it's not centralized, it's decentralized. And we have these timestamps, and we can secure data there, and we can use it for exchange data and so on. So that was in the back of my mind for a couple of years. But I've always been interested in integrating system with each other, so integrating computer system with each other. So just shortly, not to bore your audience here, but
no, my audience is exceedingly boring. So please.
So I started back in the 80s. So that dates me how old I am.
Yeah.
I had my Commodore 64, and I was a ham radio operator, and I thought just talking on the ham radio was boring, and telegraphy or CV was also boring. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to connect my computer, so I could just type on the computer and send it to someone. So then I found out something called RTTY, relay teletype. So
okay, sure.
I made a basic program that decoded when I press an A, which is ASCII code 65. Decoded that to ones and zeros, and zeros had one tone and one had another tone, and that was connected to the ham radio. So when I typed an A, my computer sent out to the ham radio then diddly sound in the microphone.
Converted binary essentially to broadcast?
Yeah, exactly. And then someone else on the other side who received this had another modem on their side and a computer, and they got the text on the screen. So I could type, "Hello, my name is Stephan," and they saw it on the screen. So, and that was, years before, a decade before internet. So it was really exciting.
Yeah.
And that developed even more, so that we have bulletin boards. That was also before internet. You could dial up with your modem, but we did that over radio, to have a bulletin board on radio. So every Sunday morning, we could connect to that one, and we could get news and weather reports and stuff like that. So super interesting. So that was my start of integrating computers with each other. And then I got my first job at Tetra Pak, the milk carton packages.
I was going to say, like, I always think of it as like coconut water comes in a Tetra Pak, like that kind of thing.
All different kind of food in this paper brick package. Is
it that because they're square? Is that the reason?
From the beginning, it was a tetrahedron. So three-side triangle.
Oh, okay.
That was the first one. So the name comes from there. The brick is called a brick.
Okay.
So I started working there as a mechanical engineer, or electrical mechanical engineer, traveling world around and installing these filling machines in different places. But I was more interested in this small computer inside this filling machine. There was something called a PLC, Programmable Logical Controller.
Yep.
And I found out that I could use my program from the RTTY in my Commodore 64 and serialize information and send it out on a relay output on a cable. So we connected there with RS-2332 or RS-422, connected each filling machine's PLC into a central computer, and then we had ASCII graphics where we drew up every filling machine and the filling lines, and we could see alarms and how many packages they were doing, and stuff like that, statistics about the machine. So a data collection system, data production system, but with ASCII graphics on a green screen.
That's awesome. So I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I used to work in my parents owned like a packaging company. So I worked in like the early 90s. I would have been a grade school kid, but we had these like gluing machines, and they had to be customizable because every package was going to be some unique thing. So they would show up and they'd say, well, how can you glue this automatically? And each one is different. So you essentially had to program in the most basic sense, but very similar interfaces, and you're using like a little red dot eye, and when something would pass the red dot, it would shoot a little piece of glue, and then you get the little ramp, and ultimately it would come finish a glued package at the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I can picture with a Tetra Pak, it's probably a pretty similar process, especially when you're trying to build it out. Like you're essentially fabricating it and then programming it, and so that's so I know almost exactly what you're talking about.
So that took me around the world. I remember I was in Japan, and I was in Chicago in the States, and
well, that's where we were. I wonder. So we worked on Tetra Pak stuff. It's possible you would have worked with one of my family members, because my dad was a packaging engineer in Chicago and did some work with Tetra. So that's
maybe history.
That would be, and you know what? You're about the same age too, so that would be totally possible that you guys crossed paths. Yeah. Very funny.
And then when I worked at Tetra Pak, so I went from a mechanical electrical engineer into this computing thing, and then Tetra Pak had their data department, and I came in there because I was working with a maintenance system. And then I saw these nice guys coming in suits, Anderson Consulting, SAP consultants. And I thought, I want to do the same work as they are doing, traveling around in a nice suit and work with computers. And but my manager said, no, you have to continue working on this maintenance system. That's more important. So I quit my job, and then I started working for a small SAP consultant company in Sweden as a programmer, and then working my way in to be an integration architect. So connecting SAP with all different external systems, so suppliers and customers and warehouse management systems and so on. So that's where it started with professional integrations with different machines and so on. And that's when I also learned the problem that company have to exchange information with each other, because since the world is turning so fast today, when customers or when company are changing their suppliers and their distributors and so on, there is no time and money to build new interfaces.
Yeah.
Because it takes too much time, it's too expensive, so on. So I saw that we went from an automated, digitalized data exchange, we went back to more manual, like sending emails, WhatsApp, even phone calls to make an order and so on. I thought, this is the wrong way to go. There must be a better way to do this. So I thought that, why don't I make a centralized database?
And
everybody connect to this universal source of truth database. So that's where the name comes from, UNISOT. It's a short for universal source of truth.
Sure.
And at the time also, then I started thinking about that white paper that I read from this guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, something about blockchain and Bitcoin. I didn't care that much about the coin, but the blockchain itself. That was what interested me. So I realized that, I can use this blockchain as a centralized database, but it's not centralized, it's decentralized. And I can let every company in a supply chain connect to this one and publish their information, have full control of their own information and publish that to the blockchain. And then everybody else in the supply chain can read that information and publish extra information on top of that. So then I got an opportunity for a new job here in Norway, where I'm based now. So I'm from Sweden originally, but I've been living now in Norway since 2014. So in September, 10 years.
Okay, crazy.
And I got an interview there with this company, and I was talking about how I wanted to integrate SAP with the blockchain. So SAP is this big ERP system or enterprise resource planning system.
Probably the biggest?
The biggest, absolutely. It's the biggest software company in the world. It's used by all the big multinational companies to handle their back end, to salaries, warehouse management, orders, invoices, finances, everything. So I had an interview with them and talked about how I wanted to integrate this SAP system with this decentralized blockchain system. And they said, block what? They had no idea what blockchain was at the time. But I got a job, so I took my family and we moved to Norway. And that was 2014. And beginning of 2015, I built a prototype home in my garage, a vending machine. So a vending machine, it was just a wooden box with a Raspberry Pi touch computer and two servers, one for input, one for output. And I could pay with Bitcoin, BTC at the time, to that machine. And I got a box of sweet outs. But the interesting thing was that I had also built a module inside of SAP. So SAP was listening to the blockchain. So when I paid to that machine and got a box of sweet out, SAP created a sales order. And SAP kept track of that magazine level. And when the magazine level went too low, SAP created a replenishment order to fill up the magazine again. So by doing that, I proved to myself I can integrate this centralized SAP system with this super decentralized blockchain. And I worked with that between my assignments, on my free time and holidays and so on for a couple of years, until I realized that I have a solution here. I want to work with this. So that's when I found some investors, and I quit my job at Ernst & Young, and we dove into this and started building the platform, the UNISOT platform. And we did that until February 2020. We were at the London Blockchain Conference, or Conji conference at the time. And that's where we launched our seafood chain. So
I remember I was there to see that presentation.
It was epic. We had worked like hell for half a year, and we got our minimal viable product and could display it there. And we had built this UNISOT blockchain platform for traceability, but we needed to show it in an industry to show that it actually worked. So and since we are based in Norway, we implemented this then for the for the seafood industry. So that's why we call it an industry solution for seafood. So seafood chain. So that's what I got famous for there, called Aquaman and everything, and also famous for the fish facial recognition, because there is another Norwegian company who makes a camera system that is below the sea level and where they're recognizing the fish and can sort them and identify them. So
but
that's what I talk.
By the fish or by the species?
Fish, by each fish.
Individual fish can be spotted with facial recognition.
Yes.
Oh man, that's terrifying. I mean, it's incredible, but
yeah, because each fish has different characteristics, and they can also then see the size and if there is any fault on them, or if they're too big or too small, and then sort them to certain areas.
Crazy. That is. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but that is astounding to me.
Yeah, right. So that was the start, and then when we came home from London in February 2020, Corona hit, and everything grounded to a halt.
Yep.
And but we continue working. We were lucky at the same time, because that meant that this seafood company that we worked with, companies, they had some extra time to help us. So they gave us a complete tour of the whole supply chain. So we learned a ton of about the seafood supply chain. So we traced everything from fish eggs. So this is this is bred fish. So they have a company who makes the fish egg. They take the fish egg into the sea and they breed them for 2 years.
Yep.
And then the harvest, slaughtery, transport, the distribution, all the way out to sushi restaurant. And then we added IoT sensors. So this is it's a paper label, but inside there is a temperature logger.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know if you can see
I can see this. There's like circuitry integrated.
Some circuitry inside of that, but you see it's just a thin label here.
Yeah.
We put that on the fish boxes so we can register the temperature throughout the transport.
That's cool. So
that was our first pilot use case, where we proved that we can trace everything from fish egg to plate in a sushi restaurant. So but then after that, we have continued in all different industries. So we call our platform now an asset traceability platform, because it could be used for any kind of product in any industry.
Yep.
And we are using a token functionality. I think maybe we were one of the first to actually have some kind of token functionality. It's our internal tokens.
I can't remember who it was. It was one of your guys argued that you guys actually issued the first Bitcoin-based NFT. So yeah,
maybe we did. Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, it certainly is.
In 2019 or 20 when we launched
19 or 20. Yeah.
So each package or each fish will be a token in the supply chain. But we try to stay away from the crypto space and so on. So we call it a smart digital twin. So a digital twin of a physical object in the blockchain, and then smart because we can use smart contracts. And but we now expanded out to several other industries, and a lot of these new regulation that is coming now, specifically in EU, the EU Green Deal comes with a lot of new regulations about sustainability reporting and sustainability, getting all the data from the whole supply chain, and that suits us perfectly. One of the regulations that comes into law now in 2026, that all products must have a digital product passport. That's exactly what we are doing. So we have a couple of customers. So here, for example, is an olive oil producer in Italy, where he puts a QR code on the bottle there. It says UNISOT, the digital product passport. I think it's too small to scan, actually, but so when you scan that one, you get provable information that this is actually extra virgin olive oil from an Italian producer there.
Incredible. Well, and so this may be less of a problem in the EU, but in the US, it's something like 90% of all olive oil is fake. It's like half
Yes,
canola
yes.
oil or something like that. Yeah.
Oh no, that's a big problem here as well. But
Okay.
that's global. All
Yeah.
of these expensive products like olive oil, honey, saffron, and those kind of
Yeah.
thing are have a
Yeah.
big problem of fake products and fake
Fraud.
ingredients.
Yeah.
And so
Even
they
fish,
really
actually.
need this digital product
Sushi is
passport.
another one here too that you hear about, that like, oh, it's all just
Yeah,
white fish and they color it pink if it's supposed to be salmon or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like,
Right,
oh.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's where we want to help the Norwegian seafood industry to
Sure.
prove they're actually good products.
Yeah.
So we also have a beer producer. It's a beer producer in South Sweden. So there's another QR code on that
Cool.
bottle. So we are building different. We started with seafood chain as we call it, an industry solution.
Yep.
But now we have several other. So the olive oil is then Halal Onchain. We have textile Onchain. So we have working with the customer or a producer in Bangladesh. So here,
Yeah.
it's a hoodie, and
Cool.
somewhere in here there is
nice
other side. So there's a QR code in there as well that customer can scan and get the information about where it comes from and the quality and all of that.
And that's just public. So if you were to scan it, it would open up a website that would explain. Yes. Like, you don't need, it doesn't take you to like a login or something.
No. That's the public information. So that's one of the functionality of our system that the producer or any company in the supply chain can publish public information on those digital product passports.
That's exciting.
But they have full control of what data they put in there, or not put in there. So that's up to them. We are working with building on chain. So we have, like, this is a metal QR code.
Yeah.
That you could, for example, put in the electrical cabinet in your house. And now your whole house is a digital twin, and there you can have all the information about the house and what kind of windows and doors and electricity and all of that.
So, question. I've talked about this. I don't even know. It's been for the last 2 or 3 years now, at least. But somebody's saying like, what is an NFT actually good for? And one of my the example that I came up with off the top of my head was for cars, because a car, it already has a VIN number. It's easy to serialize, and then
the QR code in the car.
Yeah, but what my idea is if it was updatable. So, for example, you're supposed to change your oil every 5,000 miles or something, and it would be really good information to know. Did you change it late every time, or did you change it early? And did you get good oil? Like, how much? How easily updated are the things in that situation with your protocol? Is that something that's baked in?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just scan it with your mobile phone, you get the public information. Yeah. But if you scan it with the app, you can log in, and now you can update it if you have the right access to do that.
Yeah.
So like, if you have a house or a car, you say, if you do a service on your car, the service guy can then log in, scan and log in and add the information. Now I changed the gearbox, so I did some service, whatever he did. And that is then secured in the blockchain and is now secured history forever in there.
Nice.
So that's super interesting. We are looking into several other industries. So I wanted to drop some interesting information here. So we got a new big customer, which is GS1. It's a global standard one. It's a global standard organization. So if you take any product today who has this normal barcode that you scan in the cashier, that's GS1.
Okay.
You have to register that product at GS1, Global Standard 1, and they give you this GTIN number, Global Trade Item Number.
Sure.
That's now going to change. They are now going to change those barcodes into QR codes. And that's the QR codes that we already have implemented here. It's called SmartLink QR codes. So these can be used both in the cashier when you pay for the product, and you can just scan it with your mobile phone to get the digital product passport.
Sure.
and so you can build in a lot of interesting functionality in that, and
Yeah.
also prevent fraud, because
Mhm.
we can analyze where you scan it. So if this bottle is supposed to be in Oslo and you scan it in Chicago, there comes up an error message that bottle was sold to Norway, not to Chicago.
Interesting.
And
Well, that's,
yeah,
I mean, that's incredible. So, I mean, they sound like, you know, in your industry, they sound like maybe the best possible customer to have, given that they, is it global or is it like Western hemisphere? Like, how does that apply to like China,
so
for example? Do they also use the GS1 standard? Like,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
I'm sure they
GS1 is global.
manufacture and export, but do they use it internally in places like China?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's
Okay.
global. That's global.
Yeah. Well,
So
incredible.
the deal we have now is for South America. So
Mhm.
GS1 South America is actually gonna promote and sell our solutions to their member companies.
Fascinating.
So that's really interesting. So we're just right now starting up 2 pilot projects with them.
Very
One
cool.
honey producer, and one it's a sweet caramel producer. I
Okay.
don't remember the name, special name, Mexican sweet caramels.
Oh, okay. Sure. Regional
Uh,
delicacies.
yeah, and yeah, so we have a number of customers. We have a Swedish restaurant chain as well, or not chain. It's an old fish.
Hmm.
They call it
Like a
the fish
supplier.
church. No, it's a
Okay.
fish church. So it's a fish exchange place. So it's
Oh,
an
okay.
old house where you had a lot of fishermen came
Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
They now remade that to 5 or 6 different restaurants and
It's
fish
cool.
fish courts.
Got it.
And they're going to use our system now to put QR codes on the receipts.
Hmm.
So when you buy a fish or you buy a meal in the restaurant, you get the QR code on the receipt, and you see the digital product passport in there.
Very cool. Well,
We have yeah.
sounds like business is going well for
There
you
is a
guys.
lot of things going on. Absolutely,
Yeah.
most of them are still in pilot stage.
Sure.
So there is not a ton of transactions yet. I saw
Yeah.
one of the comments on social media was, "Where's the transactions?"
Right.
They're coming. They're coming. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of getting companies to understand this and
Well,
believe
and
that.
this kind of thing, aside from government sales, the enterprise sales with large organizations are probably the second longest sales cycle. So you should
Yes.
expect it to be, well, we've been
Mhm.
working on something for 6 or 7 years before it actually
Mhm.
turns into real business.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
um,
Yes.
I mean, power to you. First of all, like big kudos. I'm impressed at the staying power for anybody that can deal with that kind of sales cycle. But with your, you know, if you're at SAP and Ernst and Young, and I mean, you're used to those kind of clientele. But it really is fascinating to see the kind of the meme between the hey, move fast, break stuff, which is very crypto, versus the sort of enterprise mentality where,
Mhm.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
we're going to invest for 10 years before we expect to have any ROI. Like that kind of thing is
Yeah.
hard for
It's
people to
crazy.
grasp. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it is. It's very hard to grasp, and it doesn't help either with all this misinformation about blockchain out there. So
Sure. Yeah, I bet.
we are not selling any blockchain solution to our customers. We are selling a supply chain
Yeah.
asset traceability platform.
Yeah.
And but of course, during the discussions, the topic comes up: how do you do this? Yeah, we are using this public enterprise blockchain that is very
Mhm.
very scalable and very cost efficient and so on.
Yeah.
And then it takes a couple of meetings, and then like rather common is that after a couple of meetings, the manager calls in their IT guy,
Mhm.
who is an expert in blockchain, because he had done some Ethereum smart contracts.
Yep.
And then we know that here
Right.
the discussion comes.
Right. This is gonna get spicy. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then sometimes that's good, sometimes it's less good. We
Yeah.
have a couple of customers who says, okay, yeah, but our technical guy is going to test it out in Ethereum and see what we can do in blockchain. And they say, okay,
Right.
good luck. We're happy to help you. So we say we are blockchain agnostic.
Mhm.
So we are happy to integrate with any blockchain that you are using, we are going to use this enterprise public enterprise blockchain that we are using as a base, but we can always integrate to Ethereum or EOS or any other system they're using with this new blockchain protocol where we can exchange tokens between blockchains. So that's very, very interesting. So that's fully possible. We are in discussion now so we have a solution that is called Halal Onchain. So for the meat industry. So we launched at CoinGeek last year. I think last year CoinGeek. No, sorry, not CoinGeek.
Might have been. I'm trying to think because I remember when you announced it. Was it in Dubai or was it in London?
In Dubai.
So then it was whatever they call it. Global blockchain conference. I think they called it.
No, with GTEx.
Oh, okay.
It's called GTEx there. So we launched there with our customers. So we have a customer in Dubai who is a meat distributor.
Yep.
So they are selling Wagyu beef. So they're importing Wagyu beef from Japan and Australia.
Nice.
And so we launched that Halal Onchain solution there in Dubai at the time. And we got a lot of interest from several organizations about that. So now we are discussing with possibly integration with some other blockchains and see how that works. But super interesting.
So we have a bunch of questions from the crowd that I think would be relevant to take with you on. But I want to ask, I know you have some close proximity to Onchain and kind of always have, and I know that you personally are also like a BSVA ambassador and some of these other things. I think it was about a year ago. I think you got closer to Onchain in that I think there was some kind of a business deal there. Can you explain like what your is UNISOT a subsidiary or where do you fit in that bubble?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Completely two organizations.
Okay.
We have a partner agreement.
Got it.
So we are collaborating. One of the things in that partner agreement is that we have a patent license from Onchain, so we can now use more or less any of the patents that they own on blockchain and supply chain and triple entry accounting. We have some collaboration in sales and so on, and technology, of course, because they have a huge pool of people there who are very, very smart
they sure do.
people. So we are exchanging information with them and working together on that. But no, we completely separate solutions or companies.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like a good way to have structured that.
Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's, Mr. Vidal, if you could bring up some questions here. We've got Bridget with a shout out. Yeah, Bitcoin fixes fake olive oil. I can think of so many things. Like, you mentioned saffron, but I know there's also that you get the same thing with like truffle oil and these kind of things where it's just like, you're going to pay $50 for a little vial of the stuff, and it's like, it's canola oil with some extract in it, So it's it really is an important thing.
That's where we are unique with our system, because there is a lot of company out there who do traceability on blockchain, or saying at least that they're using a blockchain, but none of them are using the public enterprise blockchain. Which has the scalability, which has the cost efficiency, which has the data integrity, the data availability. I used to talk about the data integrity and availability all the time, because this blockchain has been up and running for 15 years. It had never been hacked for 15 or soon 16 years. No other system has that. Same with availability. No other system has an availability of 100.00% for the last 11 years.
Right.
It's just mind-blowing. And that we can use this now with scaling up to 1 million transactions per second plus, and very, very cost efficient. So I just had a meeting today with another traceability company, and they simply didn't believe me that there is a blockchain that can do that. So that's our unique selling point, that we are actually using this public blockchain, which gives us unique characteristics to this. And then talking about olive oil, honey, and these kind of things is often smaller producers, small farms. So, and most of the other systems are way too expensive for small companies. But we can actually offer this on a very, very cost-efficient deal for a small producer. So like this olive oil producer here, it's a small farmer, or small, but it's just a couple of guys in Italy. And they can afford to put this QR code on there. You don't need to buy a multi-billion-dollar system to do that. But at the same time, we can integrate with SAP on the top line there. So we can scale up to Nestle and Coca-Cola levels and Walmart levels at the same time. So it's such a wide scale on companies. And it's also often, most systems today are very limited, centralized. You have some companies just in the beginning of the supply chain or in the center with distribution and logistics, and then you have the retail side. There you have different solutions, but more or less none of them covering the whole supply chain, from raw material, from the fish eggs out to the plate. And we do that. So that's super interesting, and be able to
for sure
provide that.
Yeah. Here's a good question. At an industry level, what would the savings be as a percentage using UNISOT? I'm sure you have some figures, and then some of it's got to be pretty hard to estimate. But like, what are you saving? Your typical client in an industry like this.
Yeah, we be doing some estimates, of course, but it's super hard, and we are still working mostly with pilot customers, so we haven't really been able to do a long-time study on this. But just from my experience as an integration architect, just the cost to build interfaces between companies to send an invoice or to send an order or a bill of lading and these kind of things are super expensive, millions per year. So by using our system, they can lower just that cost, a couple of millions per year, but you get so much more. You can expand or raise the efficiency of the company. Because all companies have this problem today. They're working with blinders. They only get information from their immediate supplier, and they give information to their immediate customer. But outside of that is a black hole. We can now allow them to open that up 360 degrees, so they can subscribe to information from their supplier, and they can follow their product all the way out to end consumer. And that's completely new. No one have done that before. And when you can get information from your supplier, you can now plan and prepare things so that you can be even more effective and sustainable. And sustainable is the big word today, that everybody has to be sustainable, and everybody has to collect information. So we are working together with an institution that is called E-Liability Institute. So that is a new way of collecting, or not collecting, a new way of calculating real emission data. And that's also coming in now to EU law and something called a CBAM. CBAM is a carbon border adjustment mechanism. That if you export anything to Europe, you have to declare how much CO2 you have cost, because all the internal companies in EU has to declare it the same way. So this is a way to help them doing that. So we actually discussing a lot with China at the moment, because there's a lot of Chinese product coming into to Europe.
Makes sense.
And also from India. So we are partnering with Time Chain Labs. Rowan there. Very, very good partner on their side. So they have introduced us to a couple of customers in India. And we also have some other collaborations with big European consultant companies. So one of them is, for example, Supersteria. It's a big multinational French consultant company. We are working together with Orange Business Services. So we have and we are looking for these kind of partners that can help us to
sure.
to reach a bigger market and to help us scale up.
I would think that a good part of your pitch must also be, your clientele should be able to move themselves up market. That
Yes.
I mean, if you can prove provenance, that like you're definitely a more premium product than your competitor if you can prove it.
Exactly. So that's why we are mostly focusing on small and mid-sized companies.
Yeah.
Because the big companies, we started there with the seafood chain in the seafood industry, with the big Norwegian multinationals in seafood, and they were not super interested in traceability for some reason.
Sure.
But when we are talking to smaller companies, mid-sized companies, they are very interested to get this tool where they can now actually prove their product quality to the market, which they had a problem to do before, and they find it invaluable. So that's super interesting. But of course, it's not the super big revenue and volumes yet on that side. But it's a matter of time and endurance, and of course a matter of money. So talking about that, that's another thing I want to announce here, that we have created a new share class for that we call the tokenized shares. So we're doing a new investment round right now, and our shares are now tokenized, and we will publish them on real world asset exchanges. As soon as we find some good ones of them, we will publish our shares there so they can be bought and sold. So that means that investors that invest in us now with these, they have a complete other liquidity. They can buy and sell the shares much quicker. So that's a super interesting way of doing that. Real shares on token. So happy to talk to anyone who wants to invest in us and join the ride.
Sure. Yeah. So, Mr. Vidal, we've got about 12 minutes left in the show. Let's bring up another couple of good questions for Mr. Nilsson here. Joey asking, before the show is over, here we go. I keep forgetting we intend to make this a recurring question. What is the proper way to dress a taco or a hot dog? Like, what do you put on these two items of food?
A taco, everything. I mean,
I'm an onion and cilantro guy, and then salsa. But that's your classic salsa, Mexican.
Of course.
Yeah.
So minced meat, salsa sauce, maize, tomato,
sure,
onions and stuff. Yeah, I mean all the normal things. So here in Norway, Friday is the taco Friday.
Interesting.
So it's one of the big meals here.
I was shocked. I actually had an excellent taco meal out when I was in Oslo. Somebody's, you got to try this taco joint. I was like, can we get Norwegian food? And they're like, no. This is the place we go to in this neighborhood. Okay. And it was excellent. I was very impressed.
Norwegian food is not a big thing generally.
Yeah, no. Well, I did go to a place where I ate some whale meat. It was essentially like a little piece of purple steak, basically, and was like, wow, that was intense, but good. But yeah, not for much more than a snack, frankly.
Right.
Here we go. Would be nice if UNISOT had a partner agreement with Hormel hot dogs to know what the heck is inside it before we buy and dress it. Yeah, what about that kind of thing? Like individual ingredients. You mentioned like the big seafood companies had, they weren't interested in proving their provenance, probably because they're up to a little bit of, there's, 10% of our supply chain is pretty iffy and we're okay with that. Would you presume that would be similar for other very large manufacturers, across the food industry?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. The big multinationals are not in there for the quality. They're in there for the gain, and they don't want to show what's in their products. Most of the time, you have some big ones that really focus on healthy and ecological and stuff like that, and those of course, but those are the not the common ones.
Yeah.
But
Alrighty.
fully possible to put a QR code on the sausage.
Sure.
There are now laser engraving technology. You could put a QR code on a fruit, or probably on a hot dog as well. I haven't seen it yet. We were experimenting with putting a QR code on the shell of an oyster.
Okay. Interesting.
It's too rough, so it doesn't really work very good. But there are a lot of interesting technologies to mark products different ways. QR code, of course, like I showed, RFID, NFT, not NFT, NFC, near field communication. And there coming a lot of new technology out as well. Also, some now in the seafood industry and food industry is DNA analyze, and DNA marking and analyzing. So,
at rapid speed?
No, not super rapid yet.
Yeah, but sheesh. It makes sense, but yeah, that's crazy. All right, anything you wish I would have asked, or any closing thoughts you'd like to leave us with, or like what?
I have to talk about our triple entry auditing as well.
Sure, please.
Which is a side track that we are running together. I'm running with Torje, our CFO and CTO. So we have a separate company for that, where we do triple entry auditing, which is one of the things that Satoshi talked about a long time ago, that Bitcoin is actually a triple entry accounting system. So what we have done is that we actually had a 1-year workshop with the Norwegian Financial Authority, where we worked with them and discussed with them for 12 months. And we got clarified that, yes, we can use this blockchain as audit evidence, according to international audit standards, ESA standards, which means it's not only Norway, but globally, we can use this blockchain for audit evidence. And that's gigantic in my view. And what Torje was doing, he built, we actually built 2 different MVP, minimal viable products, that we connected to our own accounting systems. So what we are doing is that we are reading the ledgers in the accounting systems, kind of hashing them to the blockchain, which means that you can now compare the different companies' ledgers. You can audit them in real time on the blockchain. So we can lower audit cost between 50 and 90%, which is just mind-blowing. Because the biggest problem today, for auditing companies is they don't have people enough. So the audit quality goes way down, and there is a lot of problem there. They can only do small checks here and there. But with a system like this, they can automatically control the big part of it, and then these highly educated people as auditors, they can now work on interesting investigations and stuff like that. So
makes sense.
So we published, or Torje published a paper with Ian Grigg, had a triple entry auditing conference in Malta last year. So he published that there, and it looks like we are unique in the world in the way that we are implementing and doing this, because most other system today requires that all companies at the same time start using the same system. While our solution is that no, one company can start using it this year, another company can start it using next year, but next year they can still allocate or control their accounting together.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the soft integration, like that's key to not have to make everyone in the world pivot in order for your idea to work.
Yeah.
Very cool. So to that point, can you see a future where all corporations are on board? Do you think your product is that good, Stephan?
Yes, that's my dream. That's my dream.
Yeah, for sure.
Every company needs this product.
Yeah.
That everybody needs traceability. And also now with all new EU regulations and US regulations, they need to collect data from all the beginning of the supply chain and do it all the way to the end product. And I mean, this is the most cost efficient and secure way to do it. Use the public blockchain. And so far, we are the only one in the world doing this. And that's amazing to say, but it's
and you've been telling people you're doing it for 5 years now. So it's fascinating. I always say, we're we're either very early or very crazy, but I don't think we're crazy. So
sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder.
I do too. I'm not always as confident as I am when when the coffee is in my. But I'll wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes and say, "Oh wait, have I lost my mind?" So that's
Yeah. But I'm super lucky to be able to do this together with my family as well. So my wife and my oldest daughter is working in the company as well. So
that's awesome.
I have the support from the family.
It's great.
Each other, so.
Very cool. Stephan, always a pleasure to have you. I said it at the beginning, and I mean it. You're one of my favorite Bitcoiners because you always keep it classy, which I think a lot of people really struggle to, like, okay, I'm going to get really toxic over here about this idea. But you've always been very, voice of reason, even when there's toxicity going around you. So thank you for your leadership on stuff like that. And for continuing to, stick to your guns and really do the work necessary to do that long sail clientele and really bringing solutions to the world, man. You really deserve it. If I wore a hat, I would take it off and thank you for it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we will see you soon and take care.
Yes, same to you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right. I think we got about 3 minutes left, and we had a few questions that made sense for just me to answer. So let's bring those up, Mr. Vidal, and maybe we'll be right on time for the end of the show here. Oh, actually, let me. We got the meme of the week, and I'm going to take a sip of water. So let's cue up the meme of the week. Let's fire that off.
And now it's time for the meme of the week.
Will it turn in? Wait, look, it's turning. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Where's it going? What do you do? To retrieve your order, find your phone with SMS order. It's so cute. Is that it?
Bye.
Is it bicycle wheels? Look at it backing up. Listen to my dad. This is hilarious. Get so careful. Yeah. It's going. Okay, thank you.
Brave New World, everybody. Thank you, Jesus, for the Chick-fil-A drone delivery. No, that's awesome. Okay, we've also got to do the comment of the day. Vidal, I see your comment. I agree with you. Let's bust that out. I think that is the post it up. Let's show it off from Zap over here this week. Unless we've lost it. And then also let's bring up those last few questions because we're going late. We're going to answer those questions for you. Zap, at an industry level, what would be the percentage? Yeah, no, absolutely. So you win, Zap. Please reach out to Costly Signals on X, and we'll get that figured out for you. So let's rapid fire here. What's up with the Band-Aids? Okay, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been training more lately as I'm trying to get into competition shape, and I have a tendency to tear my cuticles or tear like basically parts of my fingernails off with grip fighting. I don't know if you've ever seen a grappler's hands, but they're pretty rough. So that's what that's all about. I'm taping myself together so I can continue to be an athlete. But thank you for asking. Next question, please. What's going on with the Bitcoin documentary? So I have now watched 2 drafts of it. I'm super pumped. It needs a little more work. I've been told that one of our celebrities recently got filmed like in the last couple of days here for some of the explainer portions. So a literal famous person being used for the explanations in the documentary, and I'm pretty excited because I helped write the scripts for this person. So I will be a credited writer for a Hollywood icon, that kind of thing. So, anyways, it's going well. We'll be out soon. I'm not allowed to really explain anything in detail due to NDA and how all that stuff works. But no, things are going quite well. We definitely had like a weird hiatus waiting on the stuff with Craig because it's a big part of the story. But now that some of that stuff has wrapped up, we're basically putting the stamp on it, and I'm pumped for everybody to see it. It's been really good. So, next one, please. Are you done with the bongo? So yeah, my kid, I have a 1-month-old baby now who is quite gassy, and I posted a picture about an hour and a half ago of me, like he's over my knee, and I'm patting him to get the gas out. But he's doing okay. Combat IQ is partnering with the UFC. Are they using BSV? As far as I'm aware, they're a Block Dojo partner, and BSV people. I know the guys over there, not real well, but I have spoken with them, and yeah, I would presume they are using BSV, but I don't actually know. So, but awesome stuff. Pass it on, guys. Less hot dog, more tech. All right. We got, is that it? I think that's it. All right, everybody. Okay. Again, thank you to CoinGeek. Thank you to Champions TCG. Zap, please reach out to Costly Signals, Mr. Vidal on X. Thanks to Rock Wallet. Thanks to you, the viewers, and all of that jazz. And remember to be good to each other so we don't have to keep taping our hearts back together, our hearts and souls. So no, for real, I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, hit the alert bell, go out there, be good to each other. And thank you again for spending your hour with me. It gives me something delightful to do every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Kurt Wuckert Jr. Peace out, everybody.